Side Hustle Show 92, building a location-independent business of freedom and travel, even with a family.
Still time to start a new life in the palm trees. Billy Clyde wasn't insane. And if it doesn't work out, there'll never be any doubt that the pleasure was worth all the pain.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. The voiceover guy is taking the week off because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. What's going on? Nick Lober here. This is episode 92. I can't believe I made it 92 episodes before playing any Jimmy Buffett, but it's very appropriate for this one. This week, it's about building a location-independent business of freedom and travel, even with a family. My guest is Sean Marshall, somebody I connected with initially through the comments at SideHustleNation.com. I followed the link in his bio and landed on his site, FamilyRocketShip.com, and was like, wow, is this guy for real? He's built a little lifestyle business up and moved to Cozumel, Mexico with his wife and 3 young daughters. And this is not your typical, single 20-something digital nomad story. Like this is a little bit more, in my mind, a little bit more relatable, but I think a really valuable story, both from the business side and the lifestyle side. Now, as is per the usual, all my notes and highlights from the call, along with Sean's top tips and tactics, are available to you in a free downloadable PDF at sidehustlenation.com/92 or through the link in the episode description of your podcast player app. News and updates before we get into it. I am giving away a free year of side hustle coaching and support to one listener, and it could be you. Why not you? And the reason for that is because you guys asked for it in the annual survey, the first ever annual survey for Side Hustle members and listeners. I asked what project I should tackle next, and one of the most popular responses was, "Hey, we could really benefit from a public coaching effort. We want to see somebody go through this process of bringing a side hustle to fruition through all the stages." So that's it. Your chance to win earn, I should say, not win. I don't like win. Your chance to earn a year of a free side hustle coaching and support. The catch is we'll be sharing your progress, your struggles, your challenges, your victories, your results with Side Hustle Nation. And so that's a lot of accountability, both for me and for you. So we've got a vested interest in making this work and making this happen. So to learn more and to apply, visit sidehustlenation.com/apply. You can watch the little video over there. We'll explain it a little bit more. And a pretty tight deadline from when this episode goes live till when applications close. So applications do close 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, February 9th. So ready? Let's get into it with Sean. Hey, Sean, welcome to the Side Hustle Show.
Glad to be here.
Man, I'm excited for this one. This is this is the perfect intersection of lifestyle and business. So Sean is joining me from Cozumel, Mexico today, and I want to talk about the backstory, the freedom moment that led you there, and a little bit about what it's like to live abroad. But let's talk about going back to life in the States. Working corporate gig, and then what?
So, okay, I'll give you a quick background. I've always been somewhat entrepreneurial, but I've never quite made anything quite work. And so I think there have been definitely some negative core beliefs that have gone along with that. And I mean, the plain truth is just too chicken to make anything really happen, right? So living in Orange County with my wife, and we already had our first baby girl came along. And so that's kind of my mindset. I'm thinking, I really want to start something, but this job gives me the income that I desperately need just to be able to stay afloat in Orange County. And so always entrepreneurial, looking for something, but again, tried some things, never quite made it work, always learning experiences, but never quite made anything take off. And it was about that time that I was at a Costco, and I picked up this book called The 4-Hour Work Week. And everyone I'm sure like everyone listening to this has read that book or at least heard of it, and by Tim Ferriss. And I started reading it, and I thought, what the heck? Like, who is this guy? And like, is this even possible? Like, you can do this thing? Like, it's okay? And so, in a way, the book kind of like gave me permission to be like, yeah, I want to decide what I'm going to do, and I'm going to create my own income, and then we're going to take off and see the world, kind of thing. And then the book went on my shelf for like 4 more years because, again, I was like just too chicken to do anything about it. And then Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk came along, and I had that on a CD that I'd listen to on my way to work every day. And that guy, he gets you fired up. And one thing led to another, and I eventually started my own business, got laid off, and ended up in Mexico.
Let's talk about that business, because I think a lot of people find themselves in that position. Look, I'm working a job. I have, I've got a mortgage. I've got a family. What do I like? Who to get from that that position in life to being the owner of this company living in Mexico it doesn't even sound attainable, right? Like, so what are the first customers? What are you deciding to sell? Tell me how the business looks.
So my background was already kind of in marketing, and I was kind of self-taught, and then I had a couple of good mentors at the last 2 jobs that I worked at, and learned a ton about marketing there, and then specifically marketing online. And so that just kind of became my skill set of this internet marketing. And I was meeting with business owners and just for my job, and they'd say, well, wait a minute, you know how to do this blogging thing, or you know how to do YouTube or this Facebook thing? I mean, are we supposed to be doing Facebook for our business? And if so, can you help us? And I thought, whoa, well, I've got a job, but maybe there's something here. And so I started talking with my wife a lot, and we realized, like, yeah, this might be it. This might be finally the time where it kind of dumped me out of the perfect place. The skill set that I already had, something that I enjoyed. It wasn't my passion necessarily, but I enjoyed it. And most importantly, there was a paying market, and I kind of already tested the waters with that. And so that's kind of where it started. And then really the big push came from getting laid off. So that's kind of a thing that I think about, like, when you're at a job and you're working on your side hustle, you still have to give 100% at your job, because if not, they can sense it. It's like they can smell it or something. And I think they smelled it on me.
Okay. So people started coming to you, hey, about social media, about all this online business stuff, online marketing stuff from what you'd learned at your day job. And
right.
And did those become your first side hustle clients?
One of them did. Yeah, one of them is actually a buddy that I'd known for a long time, and he was working for a roofing company up in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And
that's my hometown.
So, yeah, exactly. And he said, we need help with that desperately. Seattle is a very tech savvy market, and that includes people like roofers. You wouldn't think your average roofing company knows about SEO or social media or any of that, and they don't, but they know enough that they need to be paying for that to get done. And so they actually became my first client. So when I got laid off, walked through the house, the front door, it was like a Tuesday morning, the box full of stuff, and my wife was kind of like, that's it, we're doing this. Like, you're not getting another job, it's not helping us get any closer to our dreams, this is it, we're doing this business, we're just going hard. And so,
wow, I want to give your wife a big hug, because that's not the reaction I imagine most wives would have.
Yeah, at first when I first walked through the door, and by the way, this isn't the first time that's happened. I've been laid off or let go or quit numerous times. I'm just I'm just entrepreneurial minded. So it was kind of like a look of like, what, again, right away. And then it was like, okay, something changed. That initial shock or fear just kind of within 30 seconds changed. Like, she was already looking at a bunch of like family travel blogs that she had seen, and a number of people that are already doing the thing. And she loves traveling, I love traveling. And we thought, hey, this matches up perfectly with what we want to do. This kind of business this kind of market, the way I can work the business, matches up exactly with what we deep down just want to do, which is to see some more of the world.
Yeah, it can be a location independent thing. At what point, what revenue is coming in from the business at that point? Are you stressed out? Like I got bills to pay, or are you like, I'm going to be okay. I have confidence in this thing that's going to take off.
Yeah, so a few things. So first of all, our first client was $400 a month.
Okay.
And it was
But it was a retainer, but it was a recurring thing.
right, it was a recurring thing. And then right away got some other clients and some other kind of big jobs too. That kind of really helped. But then also what we did, we had some savings and we also sold everything. So we literally sold everything in our house. Like we had, big screens, leather couches. We just bought brand new beds, like we sold everything. If it didn't fit in our car, it didn't come with us.
Okay.
And so we had some money to get us kick-started. And then from there, it was just hustle in the morning and then work at night kind of thing. Go sell, go network in the morning. And then literally I was doing the work myself at night because like with my only first client, I didn't like that $400 was precious, right? Like I didn't think, I can't outsource. I can't pay somebody else to do this. I need to eat,
Right. So you were selling SEO, social marketing, like just for local businesses? What other services were you offering?
Yeah, initially I wanted it to be just social media marketing, but quickly after talking to real life business owners and seeing like their websites and their, what they were and weren't doing online, had to quickly kind of become like kind of a one-stop shop kind of thing. Okay. And I also met with a lot of business owners that are like, I just want one guy that I talk to that handles all my internet and gets me business online. One person, one company. And so I thought, well, yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
I had enough.
Okay, that could be me.
Yeah, I was like, well, I have enough knowledge of SEO, of social, of content, of video, like that I could do that. And then just kind of did, and it worked out. It just kind of, it worked,
So let's talk about the morning hustle and then the nighttime delivering the work, but more on the morning hustle. Like how are you going out and beating down doors to get these customers?
So the absolute best way, at least in this particular business that I know of, is at least what worked for me was networking, face to face, like going to the Chamber of Commerce meetings, going to any city like mixers. And then I joined a BNI, which is like a networking group, where everyone kind of feeds each other referrals and stuff. And the thing is, why it works best face to face, at least to get things kick-started, is because every business owner has had a bad experience with like an SEO company, right? They've all spent like $5,000, got on the first page of Google for a month, and then got Google slapped, and then now they think, online marketing doesn't work, or the SEO stuff doesn't work because I paid for that and we didn't get any results. And so anyways, so that's, everyone kind of has that story, as you talk to like interior designers or dentists or, photographers, whoever it is, they've all had that story because they got called, telemarketed or an email and thought, yeah, sure, this sounds good, I'll do it. And then, that. So when you show up and you meet someone face to face and you say, yeah, I can do this, and here, check out these results that I've already got for other people, then, it's the kind of know, like, trust thing that kind of kicks in, and they're like, well, this is a real guy. He's like a real person. He's not just some company in India, like, I think this guy is the one, and so once you kind of get in with the first few business owners, then it just catches like wildfire because everyone's connected and they're saying, hey, I got a guy, he's good, I got a guy. And so then you're just getting referrals like left and right.
And even when, no, that's a really good point, because even when somebody is looking on Elance for a job, and I've referred, dozens of people over to my my buddy Dave's podcast on the power of parttime.tv. He's got a really, really good episode about getting started on Elance. And his guest makes the argument like, look, the people who are looking for work on Elance are only there because they don't have their guy. Like they don't have their go-to person for whatever task they need done. If they had that, they would just go to them. So your goal as the freelancer, as the contractor, is to become that go-to guy. And then, they can spread word of mouth and all that stuff. So I really
Right.
like that, and getting people face to face. But how do you can't do face to face now that you're off overseas?
So that's the magic of setting up a great network, right? So for 2 years, the first place we went to was Seattle because we wanted to check out Seattle. We wanted to just see if it'd be a potential place that we want to buy a house, right?
Okay.
And then we also went to San Francisco. So these are two places that we wanted to live, and they were also like strategic for like I know,
I
right?
was going to
Like
say you're not going to the most cost of living effective places for somebody without a ton of income.
yeah, but they are very like tech savvy, and even your average like painter guy knows that he needs to be checking his reviews on Yelp and Angie's List and making sure that he's focusing on local SEO, right? So like both Seattle and going to San Francisco and Seattle were both kind of strategic. We already both had history in those places with family and friends in both of those places already anyway, and so it was kind of a win across the board. But so the key then was setting up like a great network of both clients and just other like associates, colleagues that were kind of in the similar space that maybe did something complementary and we could kind of feed each other referrals. And one of the key things that helped me absolutely hands down that made my networking most effective was giving, like absolutely giving my best stuff away. So I would literally come up with a game plan for somebody of like, hey, if I were working for your company, this is what I would do to help you guys get more business online. And then I just give it to them, and then I say, hey, if you want to hire us, great. But if not, I really strongly encourage you guys to go through this and to implement it. And so what that does is the people that are going to implement it, they're not going to be your ideal clients anyway, because they'll just do it themselves. But like 90% of the time, people will be like, wow, man, thank you so much. This is really great. And I mean, you have to be very detailed too.
Yeah.
But then they think, well, geez, let's just have him do it. Let's just hire them to do it for us, because most people will not get around to doing it themselves. They just won't. And when you've given them and you've taken time to research their company online and you show them some screenshots and you show them what you've done with similar clients to help them boost their results, then it's kind of a no-brainer. When they see that they can invest a little bit in you and then make more in return, it's just kind of a business no-brainer for something they all know that they should be doing anyway, which is online marketing.
Right. Now I've had a similar experience. So I've been doing like these 5-minute video site reviews on Fiverr as one of my random side hustles. And so I go through the site and make all these like SEO conversion recommendations, whatever, just my subjective opinion on how to improve the site. And a lot of times I'll get back, well, can you just do that for me? Like, can you just make that happen? And it's like, well, in some cases, yes. In some cases, I don't have the technical chops to get that done. But like, that's the perfect way to go about it. Because it's like, hey, you've already provided them some value. You've already shown your, relative expertise. And I don't know how many businesses this could parallel to, but like for the online world, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, with any business, when you're networking and you're hustling, if you give away your best stuff, like some people are, no, I don't want to do that. That's my, my thing. I'm not going to do that. That's my business.
That's my secret sauce.
Yeah, exactly. But when you give that away, people see that, and that instantly helps that know, like, trust factor. And then it's kind of that law of reciprocation, reciprocity, whatever it is.
Yes.
The persuasion, right? Influence.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of enacts that, and people are like, well, geez, now we feel kind of indebted. Let's just have this guy. He obviously knows his stuff. Let's just hire him, And when they see the results pretty quickly, then it works. And so, I mean, keep in mind, I've been in Mexico for now over 2 years, and I haven't done any active networking, and I still get a steady flow of referrals from my current clients. And that's part of also picking the right clients too, and getting what I kind of call like power clients, like those people that are gonna they're great clients by themselves, but they're also going to be like your like advocates, And for example, I have a client who's the owner of a kind of a fancy hair salon in Walnut Creek, and she's got a stack of my business cards. And the people that come into her salon are generally business owners. They're that kind of 40 to 50-year-old something, man or woman, and they're a realtor or they have a dental office or doctor's office or whatever. And she's like, here, you need to call this guy. He's going to help you. So getting the right like power clients like her, they're amazing. So, and that's kind of what it, has enabled me to be here without actively going to any of those mixers or anything anymore for 2 years now, and still have a steady flow of new business and be able to grow the business remotely.
Is it a pretty predictable income stream? Where with most clients set up like, hey, we're going to do, the local SEO, we're going to do reputation management on an ongoing basis, and say, hey, this is a monthly contract.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, clients love packages. It's the in and out model. It's like 1, 2, or 3. Like you have. Oh wait, is there in and out in?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. Duh. Yeah, they opened one up on Contra Costa. Okay, here we go. So it's the simple thing, right? The packages A, B, or C kind of thing. And there's different strategies to how you price those packages. But clients love seeing those packages to choose from. And then generally, like with the way that we do everything, the way that I set up everything in the beginning was all month to month. Because there's a lot of companies out there and a lot of bigger companies like Yelp and stuff that are, one specific service, and they want to lock you into a contract for like 12 months, a year, and then it's like $1,000 to get out of the contract kind of thing. So a lot of these smaller businesses, they're maybe 2 or 3 or 4 employees kind of thing. For them to know that they're being locked into a contract where they have to pay this money, it's hard for them to do. So when I say, hey, yeah, everything's month to month, in other words, you keep paying us because you want to keep paying us because you're getting results. They love that, and it's very effective. And it keeps you on your toes because you need to make sure you keep providing good results. So yes, and as far as predictability, it's you need to figure out what your packages cost. But let's say your average sale is $500 a month. You can pretty easily determine how much revenue you can make based on, okay, well, I want to make $4,000 more dollars, increase my bottom line by $4,000 more dollars this month. Okay, well, I need to get out there and hustle and get 8 more clients on board, whatever the case may be.
Right. And as if you're just doing this as a side hustle, you could say, hey, if I could offer some service at $500 a month, if I found 2 people, all of a sudden that's $1,000 a month, extra $12,000 a year in side hustle income. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. For most people, being able to make that extra $1,000 a month, all of a sudden you're cleaning up debt, you're putting some money away in savings, whatever.
Now, I take it that you're not still doing all of the delivery work yourself. You've got a team in place to make it happen.
Yeah, got a pretty good team, with the exception of one graphic designer in India. They're all in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
So the graphic designer in India, he was one of the first people that I ever contracted, and I needed like a logo done, or actually a whole new kind of branding for a company. And found him on Odesk actually, and then he's still like with me today. He's not
perfect
constant.
Example. Now he's your graphics guy.
Yeah, he's my guy, right, for graphics. So now I got a graphics guy, but and so that was, and he does amazing work, and it's like literally like a tenth of the cost of what it would cost me in the States, especially the Bay Area. I was kind of joking one time with one of my buddy is a graphic designer, and I said, yeah, I got this whole thing done for like $50. He's like, really? I would have charged like $1,500 to do that. I'm like, that's why I didn't call you.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's kind of scary for those guys, but you got to do what you got to do.
It's business.
With so you're getting some traction, getting some clients, and you're running a business that is locally oriented, but is still location independent. So when do you guys decide to up and move? And you have a young daughter at this point, or 2 young daughters?
Yeah, we had 2, and we actually had a third come along while we were in the Bay Area. Okay. And so, and we're done. Just everyone always asks us, but that third one's like crazy, and so we're done. But so we had 3 daughters, and we had the timeline. We thought, okay, Seattle for a year, San Francisco for a year, and then on our little spreadsheet timeline thing, it said somewhere tropical. And so it really was like, well, where do we want to go? And I really my wife just wanted to be somewhere warm, and preferably she wanted to be in another culture. Like she wanted to maybe have to learn a new language or just have a really cool culture.
Okay.
And then I really like scuba diving. And so we started to look at like Dominican Republic. We looked at Grand Cayman for just a little bit. We looked at Belize. We looked at Honduras. And then all of a sudden, Cozumel, it's just a little island off the eastern coast right by Playa del Carmen by Cancun. It just started to kind of pop up to the surface. And the more I learned about it, the more I read how the diving was amazing. And it's like all the benefits of a little Caribbean island, but also the backing of like an up and coming country like Mexico, and of course the cool culture of Mexico and the great food and the cool people and all that. So it just seemed like, and we had never been there before, but the more research we did, we watched like every YouTube video that had Cozumel in the title. And
did you go like on a scouting trip, or you were just like,
no,
pack your bags, girls, let's go?
Yep. We just, that's what we did. We got on a plane, flew from SFO to Cancun, and then took the ferry over to Cozumel, got here around like 6 p.m. at night in October in 2012, and looked for a hotel, and nobody knew where our hotel was. And so
it's a tiny island. How could they miss it?
Yeah, I know. So, and then we didn't even have a place. I just went out the next day and started walking around to look for a place to live. So
wow. How does it work with like with health insurance for the kids, with school and all that stuff?
So international health insurance is super cheap and it's awesome, and we've never ever even needed it. So that kind of takes that out. Plus, here in Mexico especially, everything is cheap. Like fortunately, we've never even had any like bad things ever happen. But, little things like stomach pains or, whatever, like the pharmacies here, they're ridiculously cheap, and so you can go and you don't need a prescription or anything. You just go and say, oh, my tooth hurts, or, oh, this is happening to my skin or whatever it is. And it's like, 20 pesos, it's like $1.50 or not even that. So yeah, it's super easy when you think of it that way. But as far as school, well, we had the girls in private school since we've been here. So there's public schools here in Mexico, and then there's private schools. And the private schools are really not that ridiculously expensive. I mean, for both girls to be in school, it cost us like $450 a month, so to have our girls in classrooms where there's like 15 kids.
Is it English or is it in Spanish?
They say it's bilingual, but it's mostly Spanish.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
We're cool with that because now our two older girls are fluent in Spanish, better than us.
Wow. So. That's really, really cool. This is like the non-traditional digital nomad lifestyle, right? It's not the 23-year-old on a laptop in Chiang Mai or someplace. Like, hey, this is an actual guy with real responsibilities, real family, making it happen. Really, really cool stuff. What's next for you guys?
Well, I mean, just to hit on that's the thing, right? Like, it's easy to just do like WordPress installs and make $1,000 a month and go live in Bali, and you're 22 years old and you're single. Like, that's super easy. But what about when you have kids? What about when you have like, a family and you're supposed to be a grown up and all that stuff?
Yeah.
There's still a way to do it, and there's really cool ways to do it. You just have to think a little bit more about, what do you want to do and what's most important to you, and then just go for it. But to answer your question about like what's next, it's really to continue to scale my own business, and then I really just enjoy sharing this message. I was kind of struggling on the fence for a while. I've kind of maintained the blog with Family Rocket Ship ever since we started the journey, but I've never quite gone all out in it. I've never done the guest posting. I never have done everything that you're supposed to be doing right as a blogger, because I've always kind of had this conflict, like, why do I feel like I need to preach this stuff? Why don't I just live it with me and my wife and our kids, and we're just happy ourselves, But the little bit that I have done, and I've done some outreach, I've got these emails and these messages, and I've got them all saved in Evernote of people like thanking me and telling me really flattering things, and it's like kind of crazy to me because I kind of still view myself as a schmuck, right? Like I'm just dumb enough to have done this thing. I don't think I'm any like super smart guy. I've just done it. And so what's next for me is just to kind of keep sharing the story. Like, I mean, even with my business, so I have a buddy here on the island. His name is Sam, and his wife is from here, and he's from New Mexico. And he was making a job earning in pesos, and it's just he wants to hurry and get back to the States. He wants to raise his kids in the States, the whole thing, but he's earning money in pesos, right? So he's just not making enough money. And so I was like, dude, why don't you just copy my business? Like, I can give you everything. I'll give you the templates and the tools and what websites you should go to and all this stuff. Just copy it. And so, long story short, 2 months later, he was able to quit his job, and he has his own little online marketing company, and happily ever after. And so it's like, wow, this stuff really works. And I mean, this is just one model, right? Creating online marketing, but this whole lifestyle business concept, it really works. And so that's kind of, if I can help others do what I'm doing, then it's worth it. Like, if nothing else, just having plain more like young people to hang out with during the day. You know what I mean? Like, there's lots of people here on the island, but they're all like 60 years old. Like, they're all like retired
expat retirees. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all like, podgy. You just don't want to go hang out with them, But there are a few like young families here on the island that are also doing the thing, and it's just so fun. We don't ask for time off on Christmas Day, and we don't have to do any of the things that a lot of people are stuck doing. And so if I can share this kind of message of lifestyle business from a real down to earth viewpoint, that's kind of what I want to do. So that's kind of what's next.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing an awesome job at that, and you're right. Like, why do I have to preach this stuff? Can't I just do it? Well, I'm really glad that we connected, because it is an incredibly inspiring story, and kind of circling all the way back to the 4-hour work week, where Tim says, look, the timing is never going to be perfect. It's just, look, Sean is just a guy who, as he says, took action, just a schmuck who took action and made it happen. You can hear in his voice, like, this is a cool lifestyle, and never would have happened had I just been sitting in that cubicle and waiting for the perfect moment to come.
I would say if you have even just a slight like distaste for your job, and you've got a little bit of work ethic, like you've got some hustle in you, then you can absolutely start your own side hustle, right? Like Nick Loper teaches, and then grow it into something big. I mean, even just big enough, right? It doesn't need to be the next Facebook or the next Google. My business is certainly not ever going to be the next Google, and I may never like sell it for a big, $20 million payday kind of thing, but it provides me the exact kind of lifestyle that I want.
Right. Yeah. It supports you and your family, and what else do you really need? I like it.
Yeah.
Starting over, any mistakes along the way, or anything you would specifically do differently for listeners to avoid the same path?
Yeah, absolutely. First, niche down quickly. Like, pick a vertical or pick one general industry, and then become the go-to person. So, like in my case with my business, I really love the people in the home services, like the contractors, the painters, the roofers, the interior decorators. Pretty much anybody that's dealing with something with a house, right?
Okay.
And because these are people that they've survived 2008 and they're still in business, and that means they have money, but these are people that are smart people. They just don't have the know-how for online marketing, but they're smart and they know that they need to be marketing online. And so, and it's really great it's really, you can generate really good results for them. And it's very obvious, so you put up a new video for a painter, for example, and then he or she then starts getting, phone calls saying, hey, we want you to come to our house. They're happy, you're happy, their customers are happy. It's kind of a win-win-win. So I'd say definitely pick a vertical or, a general industry and kind of becoming the expert in that. And then the second thing would to be build a team fast. Like, that was one thing for the first year. For 365 days, I was doing everything myself, selling, and then all the production, and then all the bookkeeping and all that stuff too. But so, Chris Ducker, he's got a service called Virtual Staff Finder, and it's an amazing service, and it's like $300 or something. You tell them exactly what you want, and they bring you back 3 candidates within like a few days, and they're like exactly what you want. And the hardest thing is figuring out which of those 3 you want to keep, and maybe you just keep all 3. But like,
he's up to 500 now, but definitely
oh, 500.
definitely a cool recruiting service for
Yeah,
virtual assistants.
totally. I mean, I've used it. It's effective, and definitely you building a team faster. I know, like that first $400, you're thinking, oh great, how am I going to pay rent right now? But if you identify that selling is kind of the biggest thing that you're in charge of, as I'm like a big fan of Mark Cuban, and he says every business owner is in charge of revenue. That's their number one thing. And so you're not in charge of installing WordPress. You're not in charge of updating Facebook. You're not in charge of any of that, even QuickBooks. You're in charge of getting out there and hustling. And so if you build a production team that does all the work for you faster, you're going to grow that much faster. So niche down, build a team faster. That's what I would do if I had to start over.
That's perfect. That's perfect. The Mark Cuban quote, hustle, perfect for the Side Hustle Show. Sean, thank you so much for joining me. Everyone, check out his site or his blog at familyrocketship.com. We're going to link up to his Udemy course on how you can clone his business, and we'll wrap it up with your number one tip for Side Hustle Nation.
My number one tip would be to first ask yourself what your deep down values are. What is it that you really want deep down? And this can be hard because not a lot of people are used to thinking like this. It could be more time with family, more happiness, more adventure, whatever. And then the second thing is something that you also recently said, Nick, in your TED Talk, is what can I create? So think about based on your skills. And then the third thing is how can I line that up, those two things, my values with what I can create, with a paying market that will allow me to live my ideal lifestyle. So just quickly ask yourself what you deep down really want, figure out what you can offer to a paying market, and then third, make sure it lines up with what you want your ideal lifestyle to be. And I think that kind of knocks everything out. You have money, you have income, you have the lifestyle that you want, and you're doing it with the people that you want.
I love it, Sean. Thank you so much. We'll have links to everything in the show notes, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
This episode is brought to you by Ting, Ting. It's been about a little bit over a year since my wife and I made the switch from Verizon to Ting, and since that time, in the 12 months since then, we saved over $850 on our cell phone bill. Ting operates on the Sprint network, so you can bring any Sprint-enabled device, iPhones included, and keep your same phone number. You only pay for the text, minutes, and data that you actually use, and you don't have to sign any long-term contract. If you visit SideHustleNation.com/Ting, you're going to get a free $25 credit towards your first month of service or towards your new device. And if you're still under contract, they'll even pay up to $75 of your early termination fee to incentivize the switch. Again, that's SideHustleNation.com/Ting for your free $25 sign-up credit. Couple footnotes on this episode. Sean has offered 70% off his Udemy course for Side Hustle Show listeners, which is literally subtitled Clone My Business. If you can relate to Sean's story and think this is a perfectly viable side hustle for you, I encourage you to check it out. The link for that, as well as the free downloadable PDF with all the top tips and tactics from today's call, are at SideHustleNation.com/92. And speaking of palm trees, I'm off to Hawaii next week, though for a much shorter duration. Still, you're not going to hear me complain. Any excuse to go to paradise, I will take it. I've got another great episode lined up for you, ready to go though. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time, let's go out there and make something happen. And I'll see you next week in episode 93. Hustle on.
Way down here